welcome to Back to the Future. Today we're having a blast from the past and we invite our special guest, Dorothea Docx.
Whoa, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to share my story with everyone here.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming. If I'm correct, you were born in Hampton, Maine and were raised in Rochester, Massachusetts?
Yes, indeed, you are correct.
However, I do understand that you lived a pretty rough life after the age of 12?
Well, yes, I did. When I was about the age of 12, I decided that I wanted to live with my wealthier grandmother in order to get away from my abusive father and alcoholic parents.
Oh my, that sounds horrible. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Thank you.
Did that inspire you to do anything in order to provide other children with the childhood that they never had?
Actually, it did. Because of my youth, I was determined to keep the innocence of the young child. Before I began investigating hospitals, in 1821, I opened a school in Boston and began teaching poor and neglected children.
Wow, truly inspiring. And what was it that made you decide to start the investigation of the state of Massachusetts?
After experiencing a small health decline, I traveled to England in order to look for a cure. While there, I met a family called the Rathbones, who introduced me to the Reform movement for the care of the mentally ill, also known as the Lunacy Reform.
Wow, truly fascinating. And how did the government find out about the investigation and make the changes they did?
Well, once my investigation had finished, I decided to put all of the results into a report, which I later called a memorial, and sent it to the state legislature. This resulted in a bill to expand the state's mental hospital in Worcester.
And then you expanded on other states, is that correct?
Yes, indeed. I proceeded with a similar investigation in New Jersey in 1844. Even though it wasn't easy, a bill for a state facility was passed on March 25, 1845.
I guess the real question is, did you stop there?
Oh no, I then traveled from New Hampshire to Louisiana while making reports similar to my first and sent them all to the state legislature.
Oh, and did they all go the way the first one did?
They were similar, until there was a call for reform in North Carolina in 1848.
Oh, and what happened in North Carolina?
The State Medical Society was formed and the legislature authorized the construction of an institution which was named in honor of me.
Oh, and there were two of those, right?
Why yes, one opened in 1856 and the second opened in 1875.
Now, do you mind explaining to the audience what the bill for the benefit of the indigent insane was?
Yes, of course. That was the accumulation of my work when the legislation set aside acres of land to be used for the benefit of the insane. Proceeds from its sale would be distributed to the states to build and maintain asylums.
How long did this last for?
My land bill passed both houses of the United States Congress, but in 1854, President Franklin Pierce vetoed it, arguing that the social welfare was the responsibility of the states.
Wow, that must have been horrible. How did you get through that?
Yes, it was a very sad time in my life. In 1854 and 1855, I decided to travel to England and Europe. I then reconnected with the Rathbones and proceeded with the investigation of Scotland's madhouses. This work resulted in the formation of the Scottish Lunacy Commission to oversee reforms.
That is truly inspiring, and I understand that you also dabbled in the writing industry?
Well, yes, I did. 2 of my books were published.
Oh, would you look at that? I happen to have a few copies right here. And other copies are being sold in the lobby for anyone who wishes to support the charities involved in the care for the mentally ill. Now, I also understand that you were involved in the Civil War.
Yes, I was appointed superintendent of Army nurses by the Union Army.
And what did these high positions hold in war? And was it hard being a woman around all male doctors?
As superintendent, I set guidelines for nurse candidates. As for the doctors, they didn't exactly appreciate having a woman nurse in their hospitals. But that was soon changed when Order Number 351 was introduced by the War Department in 1863.
Oh, can you tell the audience on how that affected you?
Sure. It gave both me and the Surgeon General the power to appoint female nurses.
Did this job last for a while?
Not exactly. I retired from the position of superintendent in August 1856, after I decided that this career was not a success.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily put it under the category of failure, but I understand. So, what did you decide to do after the war ended?
After the war, I began where I'd left off, still trying to improve the care of the mentally ill.
Did you do anything different from the previous attempt?
At first, I just reviewed the war damage to the facilities and reviewed the asylums in the South. But after that, it was pretty much all the same.
You truly are an amazing woman, turning your not-so-amazing youth into a very successful life and creating a better life for so many other people.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share my story. My only hope is to inspire people and to show them what has really happened and continues to happen in the world.
before you go, would you mind just answering a few questions called and viewers?
I'd love to, but what exactly do they call in by?
Why, this would be a phone right here.
You mean they're in that device right there? We must have to get them out.
Oh no, don't worry, they're not actually in it.
Then how on earth are they gonna talk to us?
Don't you even think about it. All you have to do is answer the questions asked.
Well, okay, I suppose.
First question. Hey, you're on the air. What is your name and your question?
Hi, I'm Louise. What was your first thought when you saw so many people chained up and being treated terribly?
Great question, Dorothea.
Hi, Louise. That was a great question indeed. When the horrible conditions came to my attention, I was just very determined to improve them. I just knew that I would have to do everything in my power to save these people.
Wow, thank you so much. You really do inspire me. Have a great day.
Okay, now for the next question. You're on the air.
Hello, Dorothea. I was thinking about buying your book. Could you tell me a little more about Conversations on Common Things?
I would love to. This is one of the more popular novels. It is basically designed to help parents answer their children's questions, such as, why do we call this day Monday? Why did we call this month January? Well, I don't want to ruin it for you, so you'll just have to find out the rest on your own.
All right, it seems like we have time for about 2 more questions. You're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Patricia. I'm a big fan of Miss Dorothea. I was just wondering how honored you felt being nominated as the Superintendent Army Nurse for the Union.
It was an incredible honor to be nominated over all of the other nurses. It was very exciting to be able to be a courageous woman helping people in their time of need. It has always been my passion.
Wonderful. Okay, for our last question, it appears. You're on the air. What's your question?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I was just wondering what other achievements you had.
Well, one of my achievements was to become President for Life, voted by the Nurses Association. Also, the Health Institute renamed the building after me, both of which were huge honors.
Well, it has been a fantastic experience being able to spend time with you and being able to interview you. I really appreciate you taking time out of your reform movement to come down here and answer some questions.
It was my pleasure, really. I truly enjoyed myself.
Well, hopefully we can do it again sometime. But I better get you back into the 1800s. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.